This weekend, Ryan is making ice cream, Andy is puzzling, and we take on the food pyramid with no connected limbs. I'm Ryan.
I'm Andy.
This is Weekend Rental, episode 222. Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another installment. Andy, how are you?
Pretty good. I found the light.
Yeah, I like it. I'm so used to you being like, I liked the juxtaposition of like me having a lit room and you just being like a shadow in a dark room. Plus like the illusion of like what's behind him. Sex toys, a petting zoo, we don't know, you know.
Yeah.
There's still room for the first thing I mentioned on that shelf of yours, so.
Well, no, I need the bigger room for all that stuff. That's why that's upstairs.
The swing doesn't quite fit that space.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Getting there. Basement's coming together, so.
Yeah, I like it. It's looking good. Yeah, I like the collectibles in the background there. I still want to pry that top-loading NES box out of your possession, but I'll restrain myself for now. Once I get your address, though, if you find the door open one night, it was anybody else, not me.
I'll check the one thing that was missing.
Yeah, it's Biff. It's always Biff.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
I mean, it's been crazy cold here, but it really sucks because we can't complain about it because it's worse than like 80% of the other part of the country. So.
Yeah, isn't that wild that like we're just like it's really cold, but life goes on, and they're like it's really cold and snowy, but literally everything stops. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, I was looking at like was it like Saturday or Friday? I think I was looking at like the list of just like canceled flights, and it was just unbelievable.
Yep.
Which I get. I mean, if you're not built to have that as your normal, it's gonna cause impacts. But
yeah, and snow. Like if you don't know how to move snow around.
Yeah, I swear to God, I mean,
rough.
furnace last Friday when it was negative 20 plus the wind chill, which was like what they say negative 40. My furnace, like I could hear it kick off and then immediately kick back on. Like just, there was no stopping that thing. So I can't wait to see what my utility bill is next month. You let your dog out of the house and he comes back after like 5 seconds, like with his feet like clearly in pain. And yeah, it's hard to complain too much though, since we did start off January with like 40-degree temps. But we're just like 2 short months away from the end of this if we're lucky. So
if we're lucky, that'll be.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I had a fun. I don't have a lot of topics because I've had my mind on other stuff. But I had a fun watch where I was just bored one night over the weekend, and I threw on one of our episodes a couple back, and I think we were celebrating Christmas, and I opened the podcast with 2025. It's got to be better, right? And we laughed, and then what the hell did I do? Did I curse us? Is this a Betty White situation?
Oh boy, that could be, especially when you brought him like right by us. It's got to be that then, right?
Yeah. I just, I'm sure any of our listeners, like, if you've turned on a TV, where we live is not out of the news at all. And it's just like doom scrolling and avoiding doom scrolling is not even a thing when it's ever present and at your doorstep in the way things are. And I just don't even.
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
When it affects every like Mexican business or Chinese restaurant around you, it's beyond being able to ignore. I think.
Yeah, and there's absolutely something to be said about like controlling your borders and immigration control. But when we're moving towards a federal agency that's requiring people that simply aren't white to present different documentation and be detained at will or in cases pulled out of their residences. Like it's just so disheartening. And like, speaking for myself, I don't want to lump you in anything or anything. I think you and I are fairly aligned, but like this isn't we've moved to like we glossed over in the last podcast like what had happened with that initial incident, but like this isn't a political thing anymore. This is agencies in federal power, regardless of who's in charge, executing without cause citizens. And the disgusting part is you can see it with your eyes, right? The video's there. In both cases, you can make you should have done this, you shouldn't have done that, but in no way should a citizen have had their life ended. And then we still have these pockets of people that you encounter that like somehow justify it. And like, there's two sides to every story. And I'm like, if the side is your own interpretation of the visual facts, what's the other side? The words coming from a person, and that's fact. And it's just like, it's such a sad, pathetic existence that we're living in. And I just, like, how do you come out of that? And this surely isn't the end of it. And Minneapolis won't be the end of it, right? Like, it's just freedom is on the line. Like, our rights are on the line. It's terrifying, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it's scary that, it's one thing to say, oh, AI is so good now that you can't trust your eyes, but when it's 14 different angles of something and you can stabilize it and do it in slow motion and see exactly how it happened, what happened. I mean, there's no doubt about what happened. That if you are just on the other side defending any of that, then you're not, I don't know.
Yeah,
You're just being disingenuous then.
At the end of the day, regardless of your beliefs, a human life is worth more than anything. And to like try to rally some rationale into why it was justified is gross. And I think more people are waking up to that fact, but it seems like we're in this super messed up state where like it's only going to get worse before any of it gets better. So
yeah, it's just a bad situation all the way around because I mean the leader of it does not like to admit defeat on anything. He doesn't want to be seen as taking a loss on something.
right.
Even though I think the general public has really turned on this. I mean, it's
or do the logical thing of wait 5 fucking minutes, let the facts come out instead of getting out there with extremist rhetoric when it's unfounded, or even if it was founded, you didn't allow time for it to happen. And yeah, like you said, I think that's turning against that initiative, and I just don't know. Like, just makes you feel sick.
Yep.
And I know we have some listeners from outside of our wonderful nation that has never been doing better. We're all thriving, but totally understand if you're outspoken against what's happening here, and you should be. And hatred and short-sightedness is a disease. Like it's here now, but keep it in check where you're at. Like, be vocal. Like that's what I keep telling everyone in my life who's frustrated and venting. It's like, use your voice. Like, don't. Violence is not the answer, but speaking truth to people who are clearly spewing bullshit and hate is the best weapon we have. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's it's pretty unfortunate. And most of the time I try and play the person that see both sides, or at least listen to the other side, right? Because that's
Right.
honestly how we get into the messes like this, where you don't listen to the other side. But when you do hear, like I said, if you see somebody standing up for this, I mean, this is
Yeah.
It's nothing you can do at that point.
Yeah, it's so bad. So yeah, my feelings, my heart, and my thoughts go out to everybody who's suffered a loss in that respect. Anyone who feels persecuted and scared to leave their home, and to the people in Minnesota and Minneapolis that are just tired of it and want these people out of their neighborhoods. So let's hope we start seeing some change.
Could you imagine if this happened in the summer? Like, if it
When
wasn't
people,
20 below?
yeah, the protests in 20 below was like what, 50,000? If it was 70
Yeah.
degrees, it would have been, yeah. Yeah, it's just wild. So, yeah.
I'm going to Minneapolis this weekend. We'll see how that goes. But
I think you're insane, but good luck. Stay away from crowds.
yeah.
You spending the night or just going for the day?
Spending one night and then coming back the next day. But yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not the same hotels that ICE agents are at, because I'd like to sleep that night.
Just wake the doors being kicked in and yeah. Oof. Well, hopefully I wish you safe travels on that. And you said you're going for a board game convention.
Yeah. I don't think there's any racial profiling happening at a board game convention.
You would hope not. You never know.
It's
Though.
about the whitest place you could probably find.
That is very true.
But
yeah. Well, hopefully it's fun.
yeah.
Yeah, outside of super depressing news, which again, like, it's something you hate to touch on, but I feel like something needs to be said. I just have been kind of out of everything with it. I haven't done
It takes
much.
up a lot of headspace right now. Yeah.
It does. You just can't unplug from it. I did see a few movies though since we talked last. Lord of the Rings. We've talked about it on the show. Epic trilogy, untoppable probably in our lifetimes. They had that 25th anniversary re-release of the films to theater. So I went to go see The Fellowship with my kids. Took them to that. I think they've seen it before, but we're probably not old enough to remember. And yeah, it was good. It was the extended cut, so it was like almost 4 hours long. And then luckily there were no previews, but they had a special foreword from Peter Jackson, which was interesting, but it was like clearly just like a Zoom call filmed from his house, and like just like he kind of mumbled a lot, and like it was tough to make out some of the stuff he was saying, but he was like kind of recounting some high points from that film and filming it, and how he was in a weird headspace because the media kind of rallied behind the idea of this is a giant gamble and it will fail and it's doomed from the start, and like that was pretty cool. But yeah, really cool to see that in the theaters again. That was the only one I didn't catch in theaters. I don't know why. Like, it just kind of slipped my radar, and I watched it on DVD. So I wanted to make sure I saw that one. And yeah, that movie really holds up. I'm pretty sure my son slept through about half of it, but I still enjoyed the whole thing. So
Yeah. Well, especially in extended cut, I could see some of the things where
yeah, there's a lot. Yeah.
there's a lot of talking in that one. A lot of talking.
Yeah. I still think that one stands alone as like the best, like, on its own piece of cinema from the trilogy.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a true ending, of course, but it's got like a nice leading off point and gets you pumped for what's next. So
Yeah.
yeah, and on the big screen it still holds up great. I mean, some of the CG is obviously aged, but the way they did it and like the minimal CG use in that one for sure is really, really good. Gollum was probably like the weakest point, and you could tell they hadn't like fully spent the time animating that character and like some of the ancillary shots yet, but it was good.
What do you think they at some point remaster that?
More so than they already have, because they've done like
Or
the 4K
reboot?
Blu-ray.
Yeah.
But
But like
maybe.
reboot it? I maybe.
Oh God, I hope not.
Yeah.
Maybe. Probably after Peter Jackson's dead and gone, is my guess. 'Cause
Yeah.
we've already got that new Gollum movie coming out sometime 2027, I think. So
I guess I didn't know about that. Is that before? Kind of like how he
So
got
it's
the
in
ring and all that?
between.
Or?
Like it's glossed over in the movies, but there's actually a good period of like many months to maybe like almost 2 years where after discovering the ring, Gandalf and Aragorn leave the Shire and they're on a hunt to find Gollum and capture him because of what he knows before he gets in the enemy's hands, which we all know how that ends up. So that's where this movie is like focused. So it technically between the Fellowship and the Two Towers is where the timeline would be.
Interesting. So do they have the original people doing it then?
Yeah, they
Really?
do.
Wow.
Yep, and it's being directed by Andy Serkis. It is Gollum. So
Well, yep.
curious to see how that works out, but
Huh. Yeah, that's it's a bummer to be that high of those movies being such a huge success and like how good they are. And then everything else around it has kind of been like shrug.
yeah. And people shit on like the is it the War of the Rings like on Prime?
Amazon.
Yeah, but like I think that's okay. Like canon wise, not the greatest. Maybe not the greatest overall, but like that is so much better than the Hobbit trilogy. So it's like the pacing's better. Maybe it's not great, but yeah, there's still nothing that holds a candle to that original trilogy. But yeah, I haven't seen. I think the other two are still playing, but I haven't wanted to plunk down, another 65 for 4 tickets and like $70 on snacks. So we did end up watching the Two Towers extended cut. After that, I'm debating going to see Return of the King. Maybe this weekend. We'll see how ambitious I feel, but that one though, my God, that extended cuts is brutal. That's like that one's got
5 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got like 40 extra minutes. It's rough.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. After all this time, and you can't even just do it all in one shot, like all three of them in a row.
Well, they've done that. They did that
Yeah,
last year. It was like the 12-hour marathon of the regular cuts. I'm like, I love this shit, but I'm not dedicating an entire day to this. So. Yeah. It's cool to see it back, and I've heard the numbers are good. Like over 12 or 10 million worldwide so far, just in the box office to that. When you think about like what that means, what the options are, and like people just not going to theaters, like that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I still haven't seen that anime one.
I watched that one.
Forgot that existed.
Yeah, I did watch that one when it came out. Probably just skip it, I'd say. Like, it's better than the Hobbit trilogy, but it wasn't spectacular. But if you're into the lore and the world, it's a cool watch.
Mm-hmm. The hard thing about Lord of the Rings is that since they define fantasy pretty much, that everything is Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that's true.
That you can't really world build in it without it feeling kind of generic in a lot of regards,
Well, and it touches on like so much of the hallmarks of fantasy too, right? Like dragons, like wizards, trolls, goblins. It's all there. So
yeah. So I think that's why maybe it struggles, is because like you're really invested in the characters of the movies.
Yeah.
But like when they try and be like, oh, in the world of Lord of the Rings, it's like, well, it's just generic fantasy, even though it's like it's fantasy.
The blueprint for fantasy. Yep, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, there was something like epic though in the theater of seeing that like Gandalf, like you shall not pass scene, like on the big screen. Like, goddamn, that's just like magic.
Yep.
I teared up after he died. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh.
Couldn't help myself.
Well, I have a secret. What if he's not dead?
Oh no, really? Don't tell my kids. My daughter's like, did he really die? I'm like, there's 2 more movies. Like, how long until they get to the fire? I'm like 9 or 8 more hours. Like, it takes them 9 hours to get to the fire. I'm like, it's a big journey. They're little hobbits. So, yeah.
I mean, the true, there's a lot of hardcore fans who will say he did die, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, technically,
Grey, so.
if you want to be technical about it, but yeah. Like, he's technically not a human either, and is like basically like a archangel of sorts, so he can't really
Yep.
die. He got a promotion. If we're really gonna be super into the details on it, he got Saruman's job. So yeah, yeah, it was really cool to see. It's funny too because we went to the first showing had sold out, which was like at 7:30 at night, so they added like a 2:30 showing, and that one maybe had like 20 people in it, but it was also 2:30 on a Friday in the middle of a blizzard, so it would have
Yeah.
been cool though. Like I would have loved the full theater, like people applauding experience, which
Yeah.
is what happened every time I saw the other movies. But I get it. I went at a weird time.
Did they have an intermission?
No, no.
Oh, see, that was like the first real movie I've been to that was like, we're having intermissions. It's like, oh, this is crazy.
Yeah, they gotta sell some more popcorn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Still a great movie. But how about you? What have you been up to, gaming or otherwise?
Oh boy, since it's been so cold here, I've focused all of my media attention to places that are even colder.
Like your freezer?
Uh, I watched True Detective season 4,
Mm,
which is based in Alaska, and kind of has the vibes of what was the movie we watched? The 24 Hours of Darkness up there,
oh
right?
yeah, yeah.
So the whole show, the whole season is basically it's dark outside the entire time, which is pretty interesting. It's a good location and to set that up in, right?
Yeah.
And spooky. And yeah, it's been a long time since I don't think I've watched season 3 even. So it was a kind of a, it's probably been 5 years since the last time I've watched a True Detective. Kind of forgot how good those are and how much kind of production value they have in that.
Sure.
This one has Jodie Foster in it, kind of acting like just a really hard, grizzled cop up in Alaska. And I like to think of it as, her time in Silence of the Lambs, like the trauma from Hannibal Lecter, like flipped a switch to the
Sure.
point where this is where she ended up. But yeah, it's pretty good. It keeps you going along. It's tough because I think that show they don't want you to binge. They did it week by week, but I
Okay.
watched it all like pretty much in one day, you know,
Yeah.
during the day.
Because it's what, like 8 episodes?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a whiplash at that point because it's just like, oh, and then this thing happened, and it at some point these big turns and big significant things that are happening are just like small blips on in the story, right? When
Right.
you're going that fast through it, but yeah, it was pretty good.
Nice.
And then the game I had laying around on my Steam pile was Frostpunk, which is an old game. It's probably 10 years old at this point. I think the second one even came out recently, but this is kind of like a city builder civilization kind of style game, but you are the last civilization on Earth on a basically just like a hunk of ice, and you find this huge generator that gives off heat, and basically you have to build your city around that and try and survive, you know.
Sure.
So it felt good to, be cold here, but then, in this game, it's like
You can solve
120
that
degrees
problem.
below. Yeah, it's 120 degrees. It's fine. I don't have to deal with that. However, this game is kind of challenging me on the way I like these type of games where I play Civilization or something and I try and find the best min-max path to
Sure.
getting the most dominant thing of what I'm trying to do, right? This game is basically like you got to make a decision. Both of these suck. It's going to hurt you probably. It's going to hurt your town, but you got to pick one. Maybe you get something out of it. So it was interesting. I don't know if I enjoyed it in that regard, but that's just my monkey brain that likes things to just be good and get positive stuff out of
Sure.
it all the time. But it made things interesting, and then a lot of times at the end of the day, like it turned into something that you could use, later on in the game.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that is interesting because yeah, like you said, like civilization, you don't usually have to think about negatives because you can just always like pad enough to be like, it's all going great, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that game. I've never picked it up myself, but pretty good, you think?
yeah, it's not too bad. It's pretty hard, I would say. There's definitely a very hard learning curve on surviving because there will be certain waves of where the temperature just drops down to like way below zero, and
Sure.
you have to mine enough coal and everything to keep your generators and your heaters running, and then food and all this stuff. And a lot of times you're moving your guys around between the things. It's not even like a set it and forget it type thing. You have
Oh,
to
really?
manage these people to even get the resources you need out of this stuff for quite a while.
Yeah, it's pretty hardcore for like a game of that type. If you're in the
Yeah,
more casual offerings, which I prefer.
yeah,
So
yeah. It's a little stressful, I'll say.
yeah.
But
Does it have just like one main campaign then that you're working through?
there are other ones that you can play through different scenarios. I just played the first one, and it doesn't exactly feel good when you're judged at the end. You
Oh,
made it through
really?
like a 7 day, like there's no way you can get food. It is so frozen. You just have enough stockpile, and your hospitals are full, and you just barely survive. And then you're like, you did it. You made the end of the game. You beat the scenario. But at what cost? You made all these shitty decisions, and you destroyed humanity. You're like, what kind of humanity do you have left? And that was the end of the game. I'm like, well, fuck me, I guess.
It's a dick move. What a judgmental ass game.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. Ugh. Well, it gives you something to replay for, I guess, right? Like you want to be a better overlord. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That sounds like an intense one. Trying to think what else I have. Well, more shows. So I'll touch on this one because it's a quick one. But as you know, and I've talked about on the show, I'm a big fan of Sven Gulli, the horror host on Saturday nights on MeTV. So I go to watch it Saturday, and I'm all excited because it's a Kong versus Godzilla, and they don't show those movies awesome, and I'm like all excited for it because they haven't ran that one. So I go to turn it on, and it's Fiend Without a Face, which is a rerun, which I have seen from a few years ago. But I was like, damn it, whatever. Like, what happened to the program? So I Google it. Turns out that like they ran into some licensing issues with certain streaming platforms. So over the air, it was fine. They showed the regular or the planned movie, but I'm like, whatever. Like, I think I remember this being good. Let's just watch it anyway. And the program runs over 2.5 hours with commercials and whatnot. We get an hour in, and I don't know what the fuck happened with their streaming platforming, but they came back from commercial and went into a segment from Kong versus Godzilla from the middle of the movie and started showing that. So then, like, it just ruined the entire broadcast and both movies. Because you're like, well, I'm not going to stick around now. Like, I just missed all like the central plot to the movie I was watching, and you're spoiling this movie that I didn't get to see in its entirety. So
Oof.
I was not pleased.
Yeah. Huh. I
Uh,
wonder if they're deciding not to maybe. I mean, that's a big get, is Godzilla, right?
yeah,
But then to run into issues like this, is it worth it, right?
yeah. So I was very let down. And then we ended up watching another movie, which was that I think it kind of just came out or like recently. Like there wasn't a lot I'd heard about it other than I saw it at the previews for Avatar, and this is his new Dracula movie that came out last year, and it's Dracula: A Love Tale. It's kind of like this reimagining of the Dracula movie, which is way better than that shitty Dracula movie that we suffered through that got all the nominations and stuff. And it's just a retelling of the traditional Dracula story, and like you're following Dracula, like who basically the whole crux of this one, and I guess probably the main book is he's just waiting for his dead wife to come back to him because he forsake God and God won't let him die. So he's just waiting for her soul to be reincarnated like 400 years later. And it's like the actor, I can't remember the main actor's name who plays Dracula, but he's just like so creepy and unsettling, even when he's like not haggard and old looking and is like his young self. So like pretty entertaining. And then like it plays out the way you would think it would, but there's a little bit of almost Disneyfication with these little gargoyles that he's got that like run his castle for him and stuff, and they're all animated, and it kind of comes into like a big final battle with him and his like newly found wife. I don't know, it was pretty generic and you could tell it didn't have a huge budget, but I still thoroughly enjoyed this movie over that last one that we watch, like, but not even close in comparison wise. Like I would take this like B movie popcorn flick over whatever the hell that other one was I watched. So.
That was Dracula, a rape story.
Ugh, that one. Such a bad movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I've not heard about this at all. Is it streaming on something or?
I found it on Plex, so I don't know what it's clearly streaming on something. I don't know what though. And I don't know if it was like a British production or something, because like I hadn't really heard of it either, but it's actually pretty all right. Like I would recommend watching it. Is it great? No, but it's a good watch, and it's not too long, which is nice.
That kind of reminds me of something I just came across again on Netflix that I don't know why, but did you ever kind of follow through on all of the Castlevania seasons?
I watched the 3 animated seasons, yes.
Okay,
but there's another one now, right?
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
So I think I made it. I don't know why I dropped off of it, because the first one I liked a lot, and then I started watching the second one and kind of dropped off of it, and I don't know if something changed in the story or what, but
yeah. I'll have to go. Is it like in that same series? They just added a new season?
Yeah, it said 4 seasons in it, so.
Okay, I've only seen 3, so I definitely need to look at that.
Yeah.
That season 3 kind of lost me a little bit with like the like 3-way scene. I was like, I don't know if I need this, but
yeah.
Well, I did enjoy it other than that. I thought that was a little uncomfortable, to be honest. But especially because it was a brother and sister, I think. I don't know.
Oh.
Weird.
Yeah. I don't remember that in the games.
I think I remember like season 3 ending with like somebody like going through a portal, like one of the Belmont or something, and then yeah, I'll have to look at that. I didn't know there was more. That's the problem with Netflix now, is it's like it's so hard to find like new stuff, let alone new additions to things you'd previously watched, because like their algorithm just sucks.
And it's a lot of times it's the shit that they make themselves too.
Yeah.
You know, it's like usually that's the stuff they promote. Even they bury the other stuff.
Yeah, it seems like that should be pushed more. Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I would like to get back into that. I mean, that's obviously something I can't watch around with kids.
Right. Yeah, not at all.
And the kids are starting to stay up later, so it's getting harder and harder to track down time to be able to watch stuff like that. But
you're gonna be living in my world soon, where like you watch all that stuff on your phone in bed at like 10 at night because it's like the only window.
Like a normal person.
Yeah, totally. Wife asleep, yelling at you to turn it down. What is this magic puzzle?
It's a magic puzzle, Ryan.
Really?
That's the name of that. That's literally what this is. It's my mother has been kind of staying in the apartment suite next to us, and my father has not been here. He's been in a nursing home lately, and so we've been trying to keep her company a lot, so she doesn't get lonely. And what do older people like?
Puzzles.
puzzles.
And magic.
Yeah. We it's a puzzle from a company called the Magic Puzzle Company, and I don't think I've ever done anything quite like it. You start uh, opening the puzzle, and then there's like another envelope that says, "Don't open this until you're done." Right.
Okay.
So you start doing the puzzle, and then you like, what do you usually do for a puzzle? You start with the flat edges, right? You do the outer
Yep.
border. Soon find out that there are straight pieces inside the middle of the puzzle everywhere.
Oh, that's
They're
just
just,
devious.
yeah, and kind of curvy side pieces, and then there's like one giant puzzle piece that's like, I don't even know how this would fit in there. Eventually, you get it all together. You open up the thing. Then you realize that it shows you that you have to take these different sections that are actually not connected to each other,
Okay.
and you slide them into a different spot, which reveals the center. There was like a center diamond area in the middle of the puzzle then. That when you open this envelope, there's a bunch more pieces that you fill in the middle part. So it's
Okay.
like a bonus puzzle. And uh, it gives context to what's happening in the puzzle before. Like there's a conclusion, like you're adding to it. The one that we
Okay.
did was like, it was underground, and it was like a bunch of little pockets of like tunnels and stuff where like mushroom people lived, but also farther up ahead, up above them, was like crystal people, and they obviously didn't get along, so they were like at war. But when you finish the puzzle entirely, you do the little secret puzzle. It's a nice little you know bit of to the end of the story where they're both getting along in a pool party right in the middle. So
Oh, happy ending. That's cool.
yeah,
That's wild. I've never heard of anything like that.
yeah, it was really interesting. Um, I don't know if I have the patience for some of that.
Yeah.
I will say the art was kind of obnoxious, but at the same time, it had so much stuff on it that you could like pick up even a small piece and be like, I see where this goes,
Yeah, that's nice.
which is nice. But
I just remember like horrific memories of staying with my grandmother when I was like a kid, and she'd have like a 1,200 piece puzzle that was nothing but like a flower, like a field of like flowers with green and purple, and you're like, we'll never get this, Grandma. Like this is never gonna happen. But we'd sit there and do it, and it was torture.
yep, yep,
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that anybody was doing anything like that. Who knew you could like innovate on puzzles?
right.
You know?
And I have another one that we haven't done yet, but on the back of it, it's like, here's a QR code, and there's like a podcast talking about what's happening in the puzzle. Like,
They're adding lore to that's awesome. That's so crazy. That's cool.
yeah.
I'll have to look into that. Um, yeah, the only other gaming related thing I had was they had that update on like the Virtual Boy, and I think everybody knows that's hitting Switch Online next month. But then they announced that they will be putting out additional unreleased, previously games for that. So, in addition to like the full library being there, which was cool enough, like more prototypes and unfinished builds coming is pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And I mean, that's you almost need that though too if you want to get into that ecosystem, because I mean,
Yeah,
there's,
emulators.
yeah,
Yeah.
that you could figure out how to do and do that way, but I'm still interested, how do they know? Like it's still required, right? Like you need the,
Supposedly, that's what they're saying. I still think there's a chance you put that in your dock and that shit just works, but
yeah.
you're gonna get two images. But I think there's a chance it, and that's where I haven't even I've been putting off like even ordering the shell because it's like It's $100. Like it's a nice gimmick. I've played most of those games that were good at least
Mm-hmm.
pretty well through. So it's like I don't know if I want to drop. I mean, granted, there's the amiibo or not amiibo, but what are those things called? Labo version. So I will buy it
Yeah.
eventually. I've just been waiting until it's like here finally. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited for it though. It's a neat piece of history, and anyone who owns the actual hardware knows that it's not really something that you're gonna fuck with too much to play. So having a more
Right.
convenient way to do it is maybe. I mean, and it's not even more convenient. It's the same shit, but more reliable way, I should say.
I mean, you can actually take it and put it somewhere. You know, it's less
Yeah.
so you're hanging over a table, right? On a lot
Right.
of that. But
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
and you're not going to snap a plastic thing more than likely,
Yeah. The
like the original ones.
the clasp on those original ones are like so finicky and brittle at this point. Like, and then
Mm-hmm.
the slider, like, just don't even touch it or it's shot. Like, my one original one is, yeah, the ribbon cable is shot on the one side. And I know I can buy that kit for like $70 now to like redo that, but it's like I don't know. I have a consoleized one anyway, and what are the odds that I'm going to play with either one of them? So,
Yeah.
and yeah, the only other thing I had was like I finally bought some new vinyl again. Like, hadn't been buying records. We moved, and I got my record player set up, and I was on Facebook one day, and there's a company called, I think it's Skeletoons Record, that does a lot of like old punk and hardcore and ska reissues, and I saw they had Blink 182's like 7-inch. They came to Conquer Uranus. They had a reissue. It was like $14, 3 songs on glow in the dark vinyl.
Oh.
So I got that because I like old Blink. I think that one came out in '96, and then they picked up Jeff Rosenstock's Hell Mode, which came out 2 years ago now. But that's a great album, and I just didn't buy it at the time because I was kind of over like adding to the pile. But I was like, it's a really good record. I should probably just buy it. So. Have I put either one of them into my record player? No. I have streamed them since then, but yeah, I don't know. I like finding like those old punk reissues, especially like early stuff like that. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it's amazing that they keep doing it, right? Even like it's one thing to reissue the actual albums, but once you're getting into those, it's like, okay, we're doing some cool stuff now, you know?
Yeah, yeah, especially for I mean, granted, Blink's a huge band, but like the percentage of fans who care about that era of their music is
Mm-hmm.
very small. So it's cool to see. But yeah, I don't know. I think we're out of topics. Staff pick time.
Yeah.
I'll let you go with it.
Well, me and Amanda have finished the Revenge of the Savage Planet, kind of our co-op game
Congrats.
that we were playing. So we've been trying to find something that's kind of that, or something two-player. And we found something that's not necessarily two-player, but it's at least engaging for two people to at least watch and discuss. It's the name of the game is called The Shape-Shifting Detective. It's kind of old at this point, probably 5-6 years old.
Okay.
It's in my Steam library, and it's a FMV game where
Oh,
it's straight up detective mode, going around, seeing, asking questions about whatever's going on with this murder and trying to solve the murder. And the gimmick in this is each time you go back to your hotel room or whatever, then you can shapeshift into one of the other characters that are in the game.
interesting.
So then you go back and you go around to everybody else and start asking them questions as if they are those people. So it's really interesting because you're basically gaming people's relationships without them knowing
Sure.
just to get the truth.
Seems
So it's not
unlawful
ethical.
for a detective.
Yeah, I don't think it would hold up in court, but makes for a good gimmick in a video game, I guess.
How was the acting in the FMV
It's all
sequences?
right. There's a few that are really good, and then there's some that are just like kind of laughably bad, where it's like I feel bad for the director because it's like obviously they have one mode
Sure.
on how this character should be, and they're not stepping back and giving any nuance to it. But the interesting thing about it, we got an ending and we got it right. Found the killer, but then I'm like, oh, there's more endings. So I'm like, okay, so sure, maybe if you don't get the, if you guess the wrong person and you whatever, right? No, there's at the very beginning of the game, it randomly picks three of the characters or one of the
Oh,
characters. So there's three different killers it can be, and the whole story changes around that. As you discover, there are some motives that turn into red herrings. So I'm guessing they just flip the switch and make it be like, well, that's the now that one's the murderer. That's the motive
sure.
or whatever. But it's interesting because I thought at some point there would be, a branching path in the middle where you do something and something happens. That's what they pick, right? But for a game to make that decision at the very beginning of the game and have you roll through it, that's pretty unheard of, I thought.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, definitely something you wouldn't have found in like the original when that genre was popular for sure.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like stumble your way to the one true ending, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool that some of the acting is cringe too, because it wouldn't be an
Oh,
FMV
yeah.
game if there wasn't something that was just laughably bad.
Right. And that's what you want because you want people just acting over the top because that's
Yeah,
what's entertaining in those type of games anyway.
yeah,
Especially when it's like, like they're just kind of randomly, it's the way they have to edit the cuts on how those things play out.
yeah.
It's pretty funny.
What's the interface like? Is it like the old like Sega CD type things where there's like a dashboard at the bottom, or how do they deal with that?
There's just like usually menu items on the very right side of the screen of like
Okay,
questions you would ask or responses you're saying or like whose place do you want to location do you want to go to see.
that's cool.
But it was fun as a two people just kind of watching it as if a movie and trying to figure out what it is and
Yeah.
what the other person would do. And
How long was your main playthrough?
I think we did in like 3 nights, maybe four.
Okay.
So it's a decent amount, 5 6 hours probably, something like that.
Yeah, that's. I was thinking more like two, but that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think if you do a second one, it said something about you can skip through all the stuff that you have seen before, so you could. But that seems really hard to keep track of what you're doing. If you're blowing through stuff and you're like, where am I in this story now?
Well, yeah. If you spend 5 hours, like you're not gonna remember the stuff from 2 days prior. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. I hadn't heard of that at all. Um, my staff pick. It's kind of lame, but it kind of goes back into yours or one of your topics from a few episodes ago with the slushy machine. Over Christmas break, I think we went to like Best Buy and they have like these Ninja creamy machines where it's like a home ice cream machine, and everyone's like, "We need to get it." I'm like, "It's $300. We're not. No, we're not buying this thing." And then I happen to be watching. Do you watch Sir Yacht on YouTube at all? He's like the guy that like living off the Costco hot dog meal for like a week or whatever. That's like his shtick, right? So then last week he uploads a video where it's like eating nothing but ice cream for 7 days, and like Ninja sponsored him and sent him one of these machines or whatever. And then I was like, like it does look pretty cool. So then I go online, I'm like looking for deals and found like a deal where there's like a really ugly color variant that I think they call strawberry, where it's like this kind of like nasty olive green with like this kind of like off strawberryish color too. So that was discounted already on their website, and then there was like a 10% off if you entered a code sort of deal, right? So I'm like, whatever, I'll buy it. It came out to like just at $200 of tax, shipping included, and that thing arrived this week, and My whole family's been very in love with pouring weird concoctions into a container, freezing them, and then making an ice cream out of them. So
Yep.
yeah, we'll see. I think that we've been more like the kids have been more focused on like I want satisfaction now more so than us buying proper ingredients and making real quality products. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it should be
So like
cool.
what's like the go-to so far that you've been doing?
I think they did strawberry, and then they did a was it an oat milk? My wife wanted this one. It was like an oat milk protein powder, some kind of flavor, coffee, maybe like a coffee toffee thing. So what I really want to do though is the sorbet, because like supposedly you can just like take a can of like diced Dole pineapple, like dump it into the container, freeze it, and blend it, and you have like sorbet. I was like, that sounds amazing. But the problem with this thing is like you're freezing your ice cream into the container that also goes into the machine that turns it into your ice cream for you, right? So it's like until that ice cream's gone, I can't get my flavor in. So I was like telling my wife, I was like, we need backup containers to scoop the ice cream into, because like right now we're in like a bit of a gridlock situation. So
Yep.
yeah, I'm very much waiting to try the fruit sorbet thing, but we'll see what happens.
Huh.
So
We found a Wendy's Frosty recipe that supposedly works in a slushy machine if you run
I mean
it
that's
long
not
enough.
ice cream, so yeah, I believe it.
Yep. And it tastes just like a Wendy's Frosty. It's
Really,
crazy.
what
Yeah.
goes into that? I'm curious.
It's chocolate milk and then condensed milk,
Okay.
which has a shit ton of sugar in it, right?
Yep. All the good stuff.
And then uh, whipped cream, just Cool Whip.
Really?
Just those three things. If you get it like in the right whatever, yeah, it's perfect.
It sounds pretty damn good, I'm not gonna lie.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's I can't even imagine how many calories are in it, but
It's best not to know, right?
hmm
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what we come up with, but it made everybody happy, so I guess it was worth it.
yep. I just wonder, like in 5 years, are those the things that are going to be clogging up like thrift
Every
stores
thrift
and
store.
stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like every Keurig and what's the other brand? Like you go in, it's like these were $180 machines and now nobody wants them. So
Yeah.
yeah, I suspect that will be the case. I just like the creamy name though, because you can say all sorts of like horrible innuendos. And that's almost worth it alone, right?
Yep.
But yeah, I suppose weekend rental time. So the weekend rental, of course, Andy and I will pick a game for a given system. We'll play that game, give our opinions at the end of it as to whether we would buy, rent, or burn that title. We are going back to my favorite console of all time, the N64. We're talking about Tonic Trouble. And I believe this is Ubisoft, right?
If it isn't, they've got a lawsuit on Rayman.
Yeah, I was gonna say the best way to describe this game is if you mashed up Crash Bandicoot with Rayman and then give it just a dash of Conker's Bad Fur Day, just enough to get it to
Yep.
like PG, almost 13.
Yep. Yep.
And yeah, I guess it also came out on PC, and the PC Windows version, based on some of the long plays I watched too, runs much better, got better review.
Oh, I'd imagine.
But yeah, this one came out in 99, so pretty late in 64's life. Yeah, and that Rayman comparison, since Rayman was also on those consoles, at least Rayman 2.
Yeah.
It very
It's-
much feels like that, character design and all.
It's wild that they released these two onto the Switch N64, like Rayman and
Yeah.
Sonic Trouble at the same time. And it's like these are
True.
almost the same game.
Yeah.
They're very similar.
Yeah. I would say this game is much more like kiddie friendly. Very easy. I I don't know what your playthrough is like, but I rage quit this one the first time I played it. Because here's what happens. Like for anyone who doesn't play, is it's a 3D platforming game for the most part. But the first level you drop into is a like sledding or like luge level. Well, at the end of the luge level, there's two options. The straightforward gate takes you into the next section, which is what I did, and then I got to an open area, and I was trying to like just click through the text, not paying attention to stuff. And in that open area, you can talk to a angry tomato, which I did, and he opened a gate, and I just walked in. I was like, logically, this is where I go. Whatever he does, it sends you back to the first level you started with. And I was like, I just did this shit. I don't want to do it again. So then I finished the level, and instead of taking the gate directly in front of you to the left, I went to the right. And what that does is it restarts the level all over for you again. So by like my fourth run of this, I was just so pissed that I put the game down and like didn't come back to it for a day. And I was just like, fuck this game. It's just one level. I hate this. Turns out I'm just kind of an idiot. Also, not great game design. But
Well, you should have had all the collectibles in that level by then.
Yeah, amazingly, when you play it that much, you get very good. I still couldn't beat the time. My best time was 0.13 seconds over the allotted time that they wanted you to hit.
Wow.
So, yeah. Not your experience, I take it?
No, I kind of did that, and that was such a weird. It was just like all of a sudden you're just on this planet and you're just going down a hill. It's like, okay, this is a little odd, but yeah. And then after that, it just turns into a 3D platformer, which with a terrible camera like you would expect an N64 game to have. But
well, the weird part is like everything about the game controls great, including the camera. But the problem with the camera is that the camera doesn't work 99% of the time, because it seems like every time you want to use it, you're like in a hallway or a spot where it's like, nope, you can't rotate it here. It's like, oh, only the most convenient time to use the camera. Thank you.
yeah, I wonder what game actually cracked that code of being able to see through the wall and let the camera just go through the wall and go through see it.
Yeah. It is a painfully slow camera, even when it does work, though.
Yep. Yep. It's an interesting game. I mean, from what I understand is you have to go back and get different things with different powers that you get.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, Metroid stuff is maybe not what you want out of this game.
Right.
But especially when you have to play the whole level again.
Yeah, like
some of that.
throwing you into like a full platforming level in a game like that where your only option is jump feels very limiting. Like run away from enemy is not usually the most enjoyable gameplay loop. To their benefit, they do compartmentalize it pretty well. And in the spots where platforming is critical, the camera is usually pretty good. But yeah, it really sucks with the 64's graphics and like the draw distances and the fog and lack of texture. Like,
yeah,
that's kind of like what holds it back a lot.
It does. I mean, the frame rate and the sharpness looks pretty good on the Switch.
Yeah,
how they've done it,
especially up close. Yep.
Yeah, this is kind of a pretty big muddy mess on if you play the original cartridge, I think.
Yeah.
And he's got a weird jump where it's almost like slow motion. It shows like different weird framiness. So I can't even imagine what that looks like on a real 64. It would just be like this. Maybe that's why they did it. I don't know.
It almost feels like you're over jumping. Like you're just like constantly like second guessing yourself until that like shadow comes in. And yeah. For the most part though, like I find it to be like, I mean, I look at it as like a kid geared 3D platformer. And in that respect, I find it to be like pretty charming. Controls well, the camera thing aside. Maybe some of the quote unquote puzzles are a little obtuse or like not straightforward enough. And then the boss battles are like painfully easy. But I don't think that like takes away from it being a pretty, for the most part, breezy and enjoyable experience. Like I never, like outside of my frustration with the first go, I found it to be pretty fun, like surprisingly fun, I would say. I really hadn't heard about this game at all.
Yeah. I got to a point where I didn't know what to do, and that's where I stopped. There's a bridge with two targets, and you get a pea shooter, which I think that's kind of added on. Was like I was having a pretty good time with it, and then you get this pea shooter, and it is so clunky to use because you have to go if you want to aim it really well, you have to go into the front first person view,
Oh,
and then
sure.
aim, which is inverted, of course. And there's this drawbridge with like two sections of the bridge standing straight up. And then there's a target on one side and a target on the other side. I shot both targets and it only did one side of the bridge. I could not find another target. I have no idea
Really?
how to get the one side of the bridge down. I'm sure I could Google it and figure it out and feel like an idiot. But I think between that and being kind of overwhelmed of a kind of crazy like layer of gameplay on top of the platforming was just like I don't know, I'm done with this now.
Yeah.
But up until that point, I was having a pretty good time with it.
Yeah, it seems like it does it. It's at its best when it's doing like more of the straightforward platforming stuff. I think it does that very well. I also really liked the Z button control mechanic where like it just lets you shuffle in directions, like controlled shuffle to like get out of the way of projectiles and stuff. Like the way
Mm.
they implemented it, like it introduced it to you in the game is kind of dumb, but it's a really smart mechanic for that era of 3D. I wish I'd have seen that in some other games. But
And I don't know if you notice this, but it's the only video game I've played that has Paul Newman's face in it.
oh, really? Was he on the popcorn machines? Is that who it
Yeah,
was?
it said Newman's own popcorn, whatever, on the popcorn machine.
I
And it's
noticed
really
it.
high res on
Yeah,
the
I just
Switch.
thought like it can't be. Like it's got to be like a ripoff. But that's funny.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. I did like the
But
battle too, like when you fix the popcorn machine and there's like that super angry like corn cob who's like, "You've offended the corn kingdom. You shouldn't have fixed that machine." And then you just like burn him alive and molten. It's so good.
yeah.
Yeah. And I liked the whole aesthetic, honestly, like the creepy food, which we kind of glossed over, but like I think the whole premise is you just like kicked a can of like weird cyber juice that like turned everything evil and sentient, and you're trying to recover it. But I liked the premise. I also liked like the creepy like newspaper guy who just reminded me like
Oh
he gives you
yeah.
tips, but he just reminded me of like that disturbed cloud from the Trolls movies. It's like really like odd. So that's who I thought he was. Um, yeah, I mean, for a platform I hate and a game I never heard of, I gotta say there's something to this. It's funny because like I think there's enough there that there could have been sequels, but then you also have to look at it like we said, like with Rayman. Like this company already had Rayman. Like they had the better version of this. Like there was no reason for this game to also be out. So
Yeah, I mean this almost seems like this was a prototype of a
yeah,
Rayman game or something. Something had to have connected this to Rayman to be
yeah. Well, I read it had a very troubled development. Like it was originally supposed to come out in '97. So it took them
okay.
2 more years to get this thing to market. So I'm sure there was maybe like if they shared some engine initially and that was going to come out first. But yeah, I kind of want to play Rayman now on the N64 because I never tried Rayman 2 on anything other than Dreamcast. So
Yeah, I don't know if I've played a 3D Rayman
I
game,
haven't played a
so
lot of them. I played 2 for a bit.
okay.
It was a
Huh.
big deal, right? Like that was considered like the holy grail of 3D platforming for a number of years. And then just kind of fell off. Then he went to Rabbids, and that's what we got. So.
Hey, don't besmirch Legends and Origins. Those are amazing games.
Well, okay, that's true. Yeah,
I wish they would make another one of those. That would be great.
I think we'll see a port to the Switch 2 before we see another one. But yeah, I agree.
Hmm.
Excellent games. Um, what do you think you would give Tonic Trouble then on the scale?
You know, if I had this game on a 64, I mean, it's no Super Mario 64, that's for sure, or even Donkey Kong.
Right.
But I think it's up there as far as, there's so many generic 3D platformers out there, and I think this one is probably on the better side of that. So I think I'm gonna go buy, given kind of the platform and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was on the fence with this one, and as much as it pains me to say, I think I would give this a buy as well. And I don't like the console and its graphics and everything, but like for the most part, I was smiling and enjoying my gameplay, minus my first encounter. I think that yeah, there is just so much schlock in platformers of that era, and especially on that console. Like almost
Hmm.
nothing holds up outside of like Nintendo's first party stuff. So to like come across something like this, it's like fully playable and like kind of innovative. Kind of says something. I'm surprised more people don't talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. I, I think I wonder if it's just because of the premise of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, food's evil, right?
Well, and it's like a kidified concept on a console that most people were like writing off at that point anyway, right? So it was never going to
Hmm.
find a mainstream audience. And if you were going to buy something like this around then, you probably would have bought Rayman 2, right? If you were
Yeah.
a serious gamer. So, or you would
The,
have moved on to a real console like the PlayStation or Dreamcast and thrown that
the
64
character
in the
sucks.
trash. I mean,
I mean, it's just,
he's just
it is
Rayman.
Rayman. It
Yeah.
is, but he just sucks. He
I
looks
mean,
awful, I think.
you're so hard on Ed. I don't know. He's all right. He's all right. He's pretty soulless. I'll give you that. He's serviceable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's another one.
That's gonna do it. Um, you can reach us at weekendrentalpodcast@gmail.com. Send us your favorite uh, recipes for the creamy.
I've got a couple.
We'll see. Either innuendo you want to go with that, I guess. Whatever you want to send. But
Yes.
and we're on the Patreon network where there's a
Geekade.
lot of other awesome, or yeah, Geekade Patreon.
Oh, yeah. I'll just jump in here quick. I should mention for our listeners, like if you listen to the Stone Age Gamer podcast or maybe haven't yet, Chris and Dan did start doing video now, and they're uploading to that to their
Mm,
Stone Age Gamer YouTube channel. So if you want to watch those go to them video, it's an option now. So I think they're
yeah,
3 episodes in a video. So.
that's awesome. Yeah, and yeah, we have a movie podcast on their Patreon, which we'll be recording after this, and then yeah, till next time, be kind, rewind.